The concept of the harem, especially in the context of the Ottoman Empire, has been one of the most fascinating, yet misunderstood, aspects of Turkish history and many Islamic cultures. A harem was not simply a place where women were gathered for the sultan's pleasure. Rather, it represented a social, political, and cultural complex fraught with intrigue, power, and often suffering. Although the word harem evokes images of luxury and sensuality, the lives of women in these spaces were more complex. Their existence was defined by a system of strict hierarchies, with rigorous rules and expectations that, although paradoxical, were both a privilege and a burden. In the context of the Ottoman Empire, the harem was the sultan's private home, which not only served to house his wives, concubines, and family members, but also played an important role in politics, education, and culture. The harem, which could be composed of hundreds of women, was located in a section of the imperial palace, usually isolated from public life and accessible only to those with the sultan's permission. Although the popular image tends to focus only on the sultan and his women, the harem was a social microcosm that included a complex web of relationships where each woman had her own status and role. Within the harem, the hierarchical structure was rigorous. The most powerful and respected woman within the space was the sultan mother or Valide sultan, mother of the reigning sultan. This woman was not only a maternal figure, but also an influential politician who could exert considerable control over the sultan's decisions. In some cases, she even played a pivotal role in the administration of the empire. The sultan mother held a position of authority that transcended social norms within the harem, and she often influenced the decisions of her son, the sultan. The sultan's wives, although less so than the mother, also held an important position. The most favored among them, known as the sultan consort, enjoyed a privileged position within the harem and could wield great power, particularly if she gave birth to a male heir to the throne. Wives often competed with each other for the sultan's attention, but their power depended not only on their relationship with him, but also on their ability to navigate the complex power dynamics within the harem. Concubines, on the other hand, were women who did not have the status of official wives, but who lived in the harem and had sexual relations with the sultan, often in the hope of producing an heir. Concubines were generally slaves from various parts of the empire or other conquered territories. Despite their subordinate status, some concubines had rise in the hierarchy if they had sons with the sultan. In fact, women who managed to produce a son could gain considerable power, as their descendants were potential heirs to the throne. On the other hand, the young slave or odalisque was a young woman who was part of the lower ranks of the harem and whose main task was to please the sultan. Although odalisques enjoyed certain privileges, such as education, luxurious clothing, and entertainment, their status did not grant them power or independence. These women were primarily considered sexual objects, but some became influential within the harem if they managed to capture the sultan's attention. Over time, the harem system began to decline. Turkey's modernization process, along with the social and political changes of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, led to the end of the harem as the Ottomans knew it. The fall of the Ottoman Empire and the subsequent founding of the Republic of Turkey in 1923, under the leadership of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, marked the end of many of the institutions that define harem life. Today, the concept of the harem remains a fascinating subject of study. Although the reality of the women who lived there was much more complex than depictions in literature and film, the image of the harem remains a symbol of mystery, power, and the complex gender dynamics in Eastern cultures. If you want to know other interesting stories, you can follow my YouTube channel, Frank Fernandez Historia.